My story starts back in 1991. I had a beautiful baby boy. He started up with symptoms at the age of 8. I believe he was in 2nd grade. And I became aware of it when the teacher called me one day and said, "Will you please come to the school? Your son will not come out from underneath the table." So, of course, I went over there, and he was underneath this 6-foot long, 3.5 foot wide table. And so I got underneath the table with him. And I said, "What's going on?" And he was telling me that he couldn't focus because he was breathing weird and he couldn't catch his breath, and he was scared of everything in the room and he had to get away from it all. So, to us that was like a big red warning sign, in spite of the fact that he made huge efforts to try to get a handle and understand and accept his mental illness. And in spite of the fact that we made heroic efforts to do the same, he never really received the kind of care that he needed when he needed it. And for that, he and we paid a huge price. My husband and I were not safe in his presence. And he didn't like being that way either. He didn't want to hurt us. He would do well for a period of time and then not so well. And then something would happen, it would trigger, and then he wouldn't do well again. And then he'd do well. And it was this constant, up and down, around and around, never really getting out of the circle experience. And I think he gave it everything he had. I think he had less than most people would have because he was constantly dealing with debilitating symptoms of his mental illness. He had a very good relationship with all of us, extended family, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, aunts and uncles and grandparents. Cousins. He had a large family, a very supportive family, a loving family. I had a sister who was deeply invested in him, a younger sister who would be on the phone with him at 3 o'clock in the morning for several hours, even though she worked a full-time job and had her own children. She would spend that time with him on the phone to keep him company, to prevent him from doing anything to hurt himself. My entire family, all of his friends, and there were many, none of that was enough. He had overdosed from a variety of medications, but the most lethal of those was the fentanyl that was in his system. Our lives will never be the same. We will always have a missing piece. And this is not something that you get over. You can't understand unless you've lost a child, somebody that you grew inside of your belly. Our lives will always be life before Justin passed away and life after Justin passed away. And, the end result of that, I am more invested in my job and the volunteer work that I do than I ever have been. Because if I can prevent this from happening with one family, all of the work that I do would have been worth it.